you've got to know the sweet currents that I deal in. The sweet currents I deal in, the drug I deal in is actual electrical content. First of all, I've got my stool, yeah, because needing smoking for the knees, bitches. And then what happens is in here, I got told that they thought it might be this switch, but that's what civilians thinking it. Pump there not working, massive huge pump. 2 cables going of equal size, meaning probably star delta. What the fuck is star delta? First of all, normal motor, dual starter, show you now. Normal starter, power comes in, L1, L2, L3, protection, connector, contactor. This pulls in, doink, power comes out, doink, 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 L1, L2, L3, pump moves. Dual starter, in, protection, control, out, motor, choinka choinka. Phasers in, protection, magnetic and thermal, contactor, doinka doinka, power goes out, local isolator, motor spinny, laughing, dual starter. You know how dual starter works now, you know about as much about dual starters as me. Don't start getting excited about it, yeah, because saying you know how a dual starter works to a controls industrial electrician is something that people say when they're about 12, yeah. It's easy, it's 3 fucking lines in a straight line with protection and controlling. Let's talk about proper man starter motors. Let's talk about star delta. That is a star delta starter. So you've got power in, protection, then you'll have a timer. This one hanging off because you'll come to that in a minute. Then you'll have 3 contactors. One will be your star contactor, one will be your delta contactor, one will be a linking contactor. I'll show you on the drawing because in this configuration it just makes no sense. But if you see a overload and a collection of contacts in this timery box, you know you're dealing with a star delta. I keep it simple for you because you're following me, so you're probably thick. Star delta starts the motor in star, then after a set time, which is done by the timer, it moves the motor into delta. Star is high torque for starting things like pumps and stuff. Then when it's got the torque going, you can move into delta to get the speed and the efficiency. So star, inefficient but loads of fucking power, big massive load of power like your mum, and delta is fast like your dad when he's running off from his payments for your shoes. Here's a picture of star delta starter. Don't worry about it, there's those online, but basically 3-phase comes in. You've got your protection via your thermal and magnetic, then it splits. Then you've got your star delta, your star contactor, your delta contactor, and your linking contactor. What happens is these pull in the configuration to your UVW1, UVW2. You've got 6 terminals, so you can wire a motor in star or you can wire it in delta. But if you wire those terminals back to these contactors, by pulling in different options of these contactors, you can start it in star, then doink and stop it and run it into delta. So you'll see there, look, that one and that one pulling, I think it is. That one pulls in, and that one for the star, that links them all together, look. Links all that side for star, and then that stays in, that drops out and swaps to that for the delta. So it's a little bit more complicated than it looks. The problem most people get the power side of things is that these terminals, yeah, must be exactly right, look. So yeah, that's got to come to your U. People get a couple of these mixed up or one of these mixed up and it just blows up every time it starts up. So you've got to make sure all your wiring is absolutely spot on. There is no room for error. You can't swap 2 phases over here and fuck around like that. You swap your 2 phases over at this end. So this has all got to be bang on before you try and work on one. But it weren't the problem with the power on this one. Spoiler alert is that that's just an empty box because I've took that apart to see what was broken inside. But what I'm going to tell you now is that this is the protection, yeah, and obviously what I'm expecting to happen is when the star delta is told to run, this one would pull in with this one, and then that would drop, that would stay in. This would drop out and this one would pull in. But that wasn't happening. The problem was, when I was pressing the relay up there, this was never ever kicking in. But then I noticed something. When I was pressing the relay, I could hear the little tiniest click from this timer. And I've never really heard that before. And I thought to myself, why can I hear that click? Well, when this clicks, normally one of these contactors doinks in, doink, boink. And after the 3 seconds that was on this timer, this one was clicking in and I couldn't hear the click. I realised that I could hear that little click because that was not working. So normally that noise of that doinking in would override the noise I can hear of that. So then I started thinking, well, maybe I've got a problem with timer. So I tested between the common, this is the instantaneous contact, and this is the time contact. And I realised that the instantaneous contact was not getting any voltage. And then I realised the timer contact was getting a voltage, so the first relay, the first part of the process weren't kicking in. Now then, what's the span spanking way to prove this. I absolutely was sure it was this, but I didn't want to order this to turn up tomorrow and then it'd be wrong. So I've got the option for a bit of a cheat here. This engine, there's 2 of these on site and they're both turned off at the minute. So I went next door and I took that relay, that timer relay, out of the one next door and I put it in here. And lo and behold, it operated correctly like it should do. So I worked out it was that because I could hear that click and I don't normally hear that click. So I just went with my instinct. There weren't much testing going off. Why I can hear that click? Because the contactor's not drowning the noise of that click out. That's why I can hear the click. Then when I actually went and tested the voltage, it wasn't outputting. And then I replaced it with a known working part to prove it. That is star delta. The problem with star delta is it's never all going to be broke. The controls are going to be broke, the mains are going to be broke, or one of the components is going to be broke. Not multiple components, not multiple things, it would be one thing. So with star delta, if you can work out how star delta works from drawings, you'll never ever not be able to fault find a basic motor circuit with traditional mechanical starting. So yeah, star delta, that's what you're going to be looking at, and they get fucking complex. And here's another little tip, yeah, because it's Siemens, obviously the parts get superseded every 28 seconds, so just go onto Siemens Mall, type in the code, yeah, and it'll tell you the equivalent. I ordered the equivalent, I checked it online, it's the right voltage, it's got the right contacts, but this contact is at the bottom, and the neutral's at the top, and this common contact at the bottom, so I'm going to have to do a bit of jiggery poke with the wiring. However, I've checked the cabling lengths and they all seem to be long enough, so nothing to go wrong there. But yeah, always remember, when swapping out Siemens parts, loads of stuff's been superseded, so you end up on the right fuck around. If this had gone, I might have to change the whole lot, but it is what it is. You've got these little linking bar stuff that aren't compatible with the new ones and things like that, so it's a real pain in the arse when you're dealing with Siemens. But luckily, in this case, only a timer. What bad Sparkies used to do at the old place was they just changed the entire lot at massive expense when there was one single part fault. Actual electrical content related to the job I did the other day on the timer for the star delta. It's working, so fuck you. I'll just show you a little star delta trick that I've used on this job to make sure I've done it right, and I'll just show you a little intricacy of these Siemens things because they're a pain in the cunt. So the Siemens thing's in, it's got A1 and A2 at the top. I'm pointing again, am I a knob? I'm not going to delete it, I'm just going to get a thing. A1 and A2 at the top. Everything in is IPXXB anyway, so I shouldn't be able to electrocute myself. Down at the bottom they have these really weird things on the Siemens lock. That says NO, and I think that arrow points towards the back, but I'm not sure if they think that arrow points towards this terminal. And the actual answer is the common is at the back. The common's actually not numbered, so they're saying that arrow points to the one that's here, and the 17 is at the back. I had a bit of a problem with that, but I tested it out and worked out which way was which. I connected it back up, and on a star delta, on this particular arrangement star delta, this one and this one pull in first, so the two end ones doink in, and then after this timer's gone, these two swap over. So that one's in and that one's out. It's sharp on our new time, so if you're getting bored of it, see you later. But if you're not, I'm just going to show you something they've sent me. It's got a little unique application that I want to show you. Anyone who watches me, follow and subscribe to my channel, yeah, not really, will be aware I've got this one. This replaced the little multimeter one I had, and this is like the little handheld one which goes up there to the little Rogaski coil, which is absolutely brilliant. I use this one a lot. But today I've got this one out. They sent me this a while ago, but I hadn't had a chance to get into it, mainly because one of the downfalls of it is, just so you're all aware, yeah, this speaks to an app on my phone. However, it's only Android, so just be aware that if you're going to look at one of these, you're going to need some kind of Android device to use the function I'm going to show you, which I like. However, I believe this meter still works perfectly fine without the Android device, but the little bit I'm going to show you to really like, as I get into this bit of kit, is only available on Android. Let's have a look at this motherfucker. So this does loads of harmonics and stuff like that, but I'm just using one function. So when it's run its thing, if you press these two buttons and enable Bluetooth, you'll see Bluetooth enabled there. Then I go on my phone, which is just locked up after I've locked it. So this does loads of harmonics and stuff like that, but I'm just using one function. So when it's run its thing, if you press these two buttons and enable Bluetooth, you'll see Bluetooth enabled there. Then I go on my phone, which is just locked up after I've locked it. So now it's on, I can go on my phone, select that device. It's connected to the F607. Go home. I can start live measurements now. You'll see, if I put that up there, look. I'm going to do it sideways because I can. That's now running live. So if I drop that relay in, you'll see that start to use some current and do its thing. Now it's running, which is great. That ain't got to be in here, that could be outside. Then if I click this little graph button, look, and OK it, and what I'll be able to do is start that, and now it's plotting me. You see the start there, look, it's plotting the little graph. There's the delta kicking in, and there's the star kicking in, and there's the running constant current. It might be better to do it that way, look. So yeah, useful little tool. I'm just getting into it, but that has definitely got options if it couldn't be in the panel, and it's doing that little log now. And if I stop it, ta-da! Really useful tool. Not for everyone. Not going to be using it every day like that, but I can prove that that motor now is starting to start. So I'm a bit cack-handed here now, look, and the light's wrong, but I can prove that, oh, focus your fuck. It came on, look, it was doing nothing. Watched the delta surge kick in, then it ran out of current, then the star kicked in, then it ran nice steady out of current, and it went off. I'm not sure what this one is yet, I ain't looked, but it's a good little feature, and obviously I could be outside doing that. I haven't got to be in here right next to it. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to trying this out a little bit more, see what else it does for me. If anyone's mad interested, that appeals to you. This one's the F607. I ain't got the box with me, but they do some lower ones to this, and I think this is almost the top of the range one. I'm sure Chevron will tell me later. And it does that remote logging on Bluetooth. It does this, I'm interested to try this out, this maximum minimum peak thing that it does, and the inrushes that it does. But yeah, if you're working with a lot of motors like I am, this is apparently the one to go for fault finding motors. What I need to do is, obviously I've got a pellet at the minute, which is a lot of wires and cables and stuff to get out to check a motor's good or bad. Whereas with this one, you can clamp it around each phase, and if it's got an overloading phase, I can watch that. Also, the bonus in there is, if I tell someone to go and buy a new £1,000 fan or motor, I've got some recorded data where I can prove it's overload on L3 or overload on L1 or whatever it's doing, and that is worth its weight in gold, because me just going to someone going, buy yourself a new £1,000 motor isn't always going to go down well, whereas me going, buy a new £1,000 motor, it's tripping out an L3, and here's the data off my phone as a screenshot or a file. I'm not sure what it's going to do with that yet. It's worth its weight in gold. So yeah, we'll be playing with that a little bit more, probably sooner or later, because I'm always fucking around with motors. They both live in the little bag now in my box because I do a lot of motors, yeah. And I'll be completely honest with you. Obviously, I got these sent to me for now, but I've been using them, and these are tools that enable me to do my job much quicker and easier with better data and better proof of something going wrong. And they're the kind of tools that I didn't actually know I needed until I got given them. And now I'll be buying one of these if I need one, because it's fucking brilliant. And if I have anyone testing motors for me, I want them to be using this to get them the data so I know it's wrong. The only thing you can't do with it is sit on it. Oh yeah, blind room wanking chair.